Look what came in the mail today. Hey guys, so for today's video, I'm going to demo 3 of the blushes from Pat McGrath's new blush line. I have the 3 kind of middle shades if you look at the diagram. And obviously I have my base and everything applied, but I am looking a little washed out because I haven't applied any bronzer, any highlight, any cheek product at all. So this is just foundation, concealer, eyeshadow, and lip gloss. I'll link everything that I used down below, but I did decide to reach for the Divine Rose eyeshadow palette, which seemed appropriate. I also used the Pat McGrath Sublime Perfection Concealer in the shade L1, and then I used the Lust Gloss from Pat McGrath in the shade Divine Rose. So that's kind of an overview of the makeup I have on so far, but the shades I have are Cherish, Nymphette, and Divine Rose. So I believe Cherish is the darker shade, so we'll save that one for last. So we'll kind of swatch them in order of where they appear on the diagram. I should mention that I believe Nymphette is exclusive to Pat McGrath, so if you are interested in this shade, you will have to purchase it from Pat McGrath. It won't be on Sephora for whatever reason. So just a quick word about kind of my ordering experience and all of that. So I know some people have complained about ordering from Pat McGrath, but this shipped out pretty quickly. I didn't have any trouble with the shipping. So I placed this order on May 21st and it arrived today, which is May 27th. So, you know, taking into account the weekend and everything like that. And I do live in the DC area. I think they might be shipping out of like New York or New Jersey. So just to give you some idea of like the transit times and everything like that. So if you do plan to either purchase Nymphette or you want to pick up more than one of these blushes, I do recommend purchasing directly from Pat McGrath because they have it so that you can purchase a trio of blushes for $96. These retail for $38 a piece, but if you purchase a set of 3, they are $32 a piece. And I was able to apply an additional 10% off code, which I don't think is valid any longer, but with that additional 10% off, the 3 blushes came to $86.40 with free shipping. So that would take it down to about $28.80 per blush. So almost $10 off each blush. And I am much more comfortable paying $30 a blush than I am $40 a blush. And you can also check out Rakuten or Mr. Rebates or Retail Me Not, any of those kind of cashback sites to kind of get an additional, not amount off, but money back in your pocket. So I really like that Pat McGrath offered this kind of bundle. And I chose one of the pre-made ones. So she basically offered like the first 3 of the 9 blushes as a set, the second 3 as a set, which I purchased, and then the last 3. The first 3 are kind of more nude, the second 3 are more pink, and then the last 3 are much deeper. So you can either do that or you can do a custom selection, so you can pick any 3 out of the 9. So you can get a discount if you purchase 3. They also have a collection of all 9. Which is, I think, a couple dollars short of 3 times 96. It's $284. So lots of numbers I'm throwing at you. But anyway, yeah, lots of different sets there, and I do appreciate that she offered that. So she does have a kit with 2 blushes and a highlighter, but I think with that one, you get Paradise Venus as one of your shades. You can't choose both blushes. You can only customize the one. So anyway, I didn't have any issues with shipping, as I mentioned. This is basically the box it came in. My address is on this side, and there were 2 layers of tissue paper. I think there was also some bubble wrap that I already removed, but there's like the bottom tissue paper, and then the blushes were in the middle, and then this was on top, and it had my, you know, packing slip and everything like that. One thing that did surprise me, so It cracks me up because Britt Clark always complains about kind of more luxury makeup brands having stickers as opposed to just printing it on the box. I do appreciate that. It's obviously more expensive to manufacture components that are unique to each shade as opposed to just slapping a different sticker on it. So, you know, you can take that as you will. The unit carton on this is kind of interesting. As I mentioned, there's a little sticker on the top that indicates the shade. And then I don't know if the sticker on the back is unique to this shade or if they're all the same, but it obviously has the ingredients. There is mica and caprylic or capric triglyceride. This does have an 18-month shelf life and it is made in Italy. And there is some interesting texture on the box. There's like some kind of textury bits, and then this is obviously a sticker. So I found that interesting. It's very pretty packaging, and it has that gold foil and everything on it. So this actually lifts up like so, which I appreciate because it's easier to get into than like a standard box. So I think like this bottom style is generally what's on the top as well. And I always end up reaching for like a little spatula to kind of ease it out so that I don't rip the box, even if I end up recycling it, just because I don't want to rip the box. So I do like this style of packaging. It did kind of surprise me that there wasn't any kind of interior like cardboard or anything to offer a little bit more protection. But if you open up the actual component, it is that black packaging. The Pat McGrath is smooth, it's not raised or anything. So you get this black acrylic packaging, and like I said, they do have the little sticker down at the bottom here. At the top it says Pat McGrath Labs Blush Without Caution, Fabulous Flirtation, spelled F-L-E-U-R, like the flower, and Sexquisite Seductions may result with prolonged use. And then it has like the MMXXI, which I think is 2021, right? A little copyright. So that's kind of a cute little detail. You can see it's a little reflective there. So anyway, you actually push in here to open the blush, and I don't think there's any kind of mirror protector or plastic sheet on the top of the product. It's just that's the product, and that's as far open as it goes, and you can see the very beautiful embossing there. This one had a small, I wouldn't call it a defect or anything, but it looks like there's a little bit of the product that maybe fell out during the pressing process. This is Cherish, which is the darker of the three shades that I have, and I wonder because it is a more probably pigmented or more richly pigmented shade that there's just less binder to kind of hold it together. So anyway, that is Cherish, kind of going in reverse order here. The next one is Divine Rose. So same style of package, and that is what that looks like. I feel like we should give these embossings a moment of silence before we ruin them. I don't feel as worried or concerned about disrupting the embossing because I have multiples of them, and while it's really pretty, it's not like it's an overspray or something super unique that will go away and I won't ever have it again. So this is the shade Nymphette. So this is the Pat McGrath exclusive shade. Okay, so let's go ahead and swatch these. So I rubbed my finger in that quite a bit. You can see it on my pointer finger there. And it didn't kick up hardly any product. It felt very smooth. The embossing isn't like completely ruined or anything. So we'll swatch these on my hand first, going into Divine Rose. I really kind of hemmed and hawed over what shades to get, but ultimately I decided just to go for the middle three because, you know, I do like pinky toned blushes. The first two, I guess the third one in the trio, I wasn't quite sure about. And I thought I would just go for this kind of curated set. I might pick up the first two down the line. I haven't decided yet. But I am glad that I picked up Nymphette because I didn't realize at the time that it was exclusive to Pat McGrath. So if you're not interested in Nymphette, which again is this one, you can buy these from Sephora. You can just buy a single shade for $38. So they feel really smooth and creamy. I can tell the Cherish one, again, that's the one that is the more pigmented bright pink. That one does seem a little less creamy. You know, the pigment is just a little bit richer. So let us give you the shade descriptions. So Nymphette, so going from, I believe, right to left for you. Nymphette is a soft pink with golden pearl. Divine Rose is a cool mauve rose that is a demi-matte. And then Cherish is a neutral pink that is a demi-matte. I would say this is a pretty bright, cool toned pink. I don't think that's really a neutral pink. And as far as like having any shimmer, I don't see any discernible kind of glitter or anything in the Nymphette shade. I think it has a bit more sheen than the Cherish shade does for sure, but as I mentioned, I think Cherish is just kind of a different pigment level and is much brighter. So that is it for the swatches. All right, I think I'm going to adjust my lighting just a tad. Okay, so hopefully I don't look quite as washed out. I did just turn down my lights a little bit and then I readjusted the white balance. So let's start off with the shade Nymphette, and this is my Refer number 5 brush. Did pick up a good amount of pigment just with a few kind of strokes, and again, there's a little bit of kick up in the pan, but nothing too terrible. And this is actually kind of a decent sized mirror that I think I can use. Okay, so let's see. I did set my face with powder. And as you, just going in a little bit more just to see if I can build it a little bit. As you probably can tell, I'm quite fair, so. So that is Nymphette. So I think with my skin tone, even using kind of a more dense brush, you can still get like a very natural soft application. I built it up just a tad. And as I said, like I don't see any kind of like sparkle or anything like that. Let's zoom you guys in. So that is Nymphette. Okay, so going into the next one, which is Divine Rose, I'm just going to kind of turn the brush over and see what kind of payoff we get with this shade. So make sure I don't do the same cheek twice. That is Divine Rose, initially anyway. And then just building it up a little bit. So that is Nymphette. That is Divine Rose. So far, I think this is really pretty. I think it's really skin-like. It doesn't look powdery or anything like that. For the last shade here, obviously I'm going to have to remove what I just applied. And I do turn off my air conditioning when I film, so that coupled with kind of rubbing my skin does make it, you know, kind of pink by itself. This is an interesting look. Okay, so I am using the ColourPop Pretty Fresh foundation. So going back in, I wanted to use a foundation that was a little bit more high coverage so that you could, you know, get a good read of the color on my skin tone. And again, taking my Charlotte Tilbury powder. This foundation sets pretty well, but I'm just going to go over with some powder just to make sure. This is a step I guess I normally take when I know I'm going to be blending powder products over my foundation. Okay, and for the last one, I'm going to take my color switch here and the brush that I use, the Refer number 5, just to try and get off most of the product. I thought about switching over to a stippling brush, but I don't know, I just wanted to give it a try to see kind of how pigmented it does come off on the skin with this style of brush. Okay, so which one is it here? I do wish that, I mean, I really do love the kind of iconic black and gold packaging, but when you have multiple blushes, the only way you'll be able to tell them apart without opening them is by this tiny little sticker on the back there. So if you do buy multiples, you may have a little bit of trouble kind of picking up the one that you want initially. Okay, so let's go into Cherish. And again, going in with this brush. This one is definitely kicking up a lot more. So I think that's mostly just due to the shade. Okay, so I knocked off some of the excess, and I did see that Pat McGrath posted a really beautiful picture on her Instagram of a model wearing, I think it was this combined with Divine Rose maybe? So I don't think that's quite as scary as maybe it first came off. I mean, this is definitely a heavy blush application. Let's see if I use a stipple brush on the other cheek. So this is my Real Techniques Duo Fiber Face Brush. And I think this is kind of exacerbating the powder kick-up problem. And it does kind of make it a little streaky. So that is like a softer application of that shade. For me, this is definitely kind of like a, I don't know, late winter, kind of early spring type shade is when I like this kind of pink color. And again, just to show you the kick up, so hopefully you get a sense of how that's looking in the pan, and I will compare that to Divine Rose. Can't fold these flat, so it's a little bit of a challenge to hold both of these. So there you can see kind of the difference in kick up. And again, these are both the demi matte formula. So the same formula, but you can see Cherish has a lot more kick up in the pan. And it's even kind of getting down like in the mirror, if you can see that. So it's not like a deal breaker. If, I guess I could go back in time and replace this with, I think like the Flirtatious shade, whatever the first one is, I might have done that, but it's not like it's not a total loss to me. So I'm going to just kind of even myself out here. I think I heard Kinky Sweat call this kind of like the 80s blush, which I can definitely see that. And of course, with something a little bit more kind of vibrant and pigmented, you have to be a little bit more careful about your placement, especially just to kind of make them even. I feel kind of like Babes in Toyland, these cheeks. So anyway, that is it for my kind of initial demo try on. I like these. I don't think you need to rush out and buy them, especially at full price. If you want to buy the bundle, I think that's a great deal. And then, you know, Pat McGrath has sales fairly frequently, so just be mindful of that. Maybe pick up one if you're just dying to try it. But don't feel like you need to go out and buy all 9, especially since not all of them may be suited for your skin tone or your preferences or whatever. So I don't regret picking these up. I was definitely kind of drawn to the embossing, and I do love a good blush. So I hope you guys enjoyed hearing what I think about these. Please do subscribe if you haven't already. I hope you guys are all staying very safe and healthy out there, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.